Shalom Israel. All praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakak, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahawah being who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahawashi being his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. That's a spirit. Hey, that's a spirit. So as I'm watching the Apostle Tahar lesson, right, U.S. troops were told Iran war is for sparking Armageddon, right? And as you see on Salaki, let me finish my intro. All praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakak. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. Salutations to the elect, whom the Lord have given ears to hear. So yeah, man, the writing's on the wall. And, you know, as I'm watching the Apostle Tahar, literally right when I started this lesson, all right, the same article that the Apostle Tahar is going into is coming up where it says God's divine plan. U.S. soldiers says commanders told them they're fighting for Armageddon. Whoo! Hey, man. And in lieu of watching the Apostle Tahar, I was also looking at this video by Brighton, the Health Ranger report. It says U.S. facing critical shortage of air defense munition as Iran hammers bases and infrastructure targets. And as he goes into, you know, Iran can create thousands of drones and hundreds of ballistic missiles. Meanwhile, America can only create, it says 6, according to Marco Rubio, 6 interceptors. All right. So essentially, this devil is entering into his death trap. All right. And at the end of the day, Yahawashi is going to meet him. You know. Hey, this is beautiful, man. We're in some beautiful times. Really beautiful times, man. It says people are growing increasingly uneasy as President DJ Trump attacks on Iran are looking more and more like they could be part of a right-wing religious fanatics' fantasy for the apocalypse. These devils know that World War III is imminent. They know that Yahawashi is going to return. Which goes to show you that they've been watching us and the Lord has been confirming what we've been saying. Remember at you know, the end of Yahawashi's you know, walk, it was prophesied that, or, you know, Pontius Pilate's wife had many dreams based on him. You know, so these devils, as it is also written, what? In Joel, the 2nd chapter, Acts, the 2nd chapter, that, you know, the men, women, and children of this generation shall have dreams of the end. So these devils know what's up, man. The Cradle Media's Jonathan Larson wrote that American soldiers were given a pep talk about the war in Iran. A U.S. combat unit commander told them that the attack is part of God's divine plan. He said that President DJ Trump was anointed by Jesus, which we know is Yahawashi, for the specific purpose to ignite Armageddon, i.e. the Third World War. U.S. troops were told Iran war is for Armageddon. Return of Yahawashi's advocacy group reports commanders giving similar messages at more than 30 installations in every branch of the military. You know? And hey, as it is written in the book of Isaiah 34, come near ye nations to hear, and hearken ye people. let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahawah is upon all nations, and his fury upon their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Right? And the slaughter is known as the Valley of Jehoshaphat, written of in Joel the 3rd chapter. Alright? Whereas the Lord, we'll read it. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Now let's go over to Isaiah 13. And 10. Let's start at the top, actually. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Okay? In America is the high mountain. Another word for a mountain is a government. That's why when every year, when these leaders of these governments come together, they call it what? A summit. Exalt the voice into them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles, which is what we've been doing when we go out there in the highways and hedges. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahawah of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. Right? Yahawah promoted it. All right? For all these nations to come down in this battle royale, so to speak. Whereas, you know, the guest of honor is Yahawashi, which is written up in Revelation 19. All right, 2nd Ezra 13. How he's going to come and snatch crowns. In other words, he's going to come and defeat all these other nations. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahawah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of Yahawah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Jumping down to verse 10. Verse 9. Behold, the day of Yahawah cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And that's what Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is doing. Alright? Literally right under the Apostle Tahar's lesson, you have the, I believe he was a former colonel, Douglas McGregor. It says Iran war, U.S. losing position in the world. And I believe the chick Kim Iverson, she was going into the predictions of this one Moabite. I guess he's like a professor. And this guy had predicted how Trump was going to get reelected, how Trump was going to war with Iran. And I believe the last prediction was how Iran was going to overtake America. Like America is not going to be able to stonewall Iran like it does other countries. You know, and everybody's seeing it. All right, so let me jump over to Psalm 58 and verse 6. Let's start at 5. Which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. It says, break their teeth, O God, and their mouth break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahawah. Let them melt away as waters which run continually when he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows. Let them be as cut in pieces, as a snail which melteth. Let every one of them pass away like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Before your pots can fill with thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. And when we go to verse 6, right, it says, break their teeth, and this is in the John Gill's commentary, O God, in their mouth. It says, from the description of the wicked, the psalmist passes the imprecations on his enemies, whom he represents as cruel and bloodthirsty, and as being stronger than he. And therefore he applies to God, who could, as he sometimes did, smite his enemies on the cheekbone and break the teeth of the ungodly, which is done by taking the power and instruments of hurting from them. And it may be by their teeth in their mouth may be meant their malicious words, calumnies, and distractions. Teeth being the instrument of speech, and by breaking them, preventing the mischief designed by them. Let them melt away as with waters which run continually. Let them be disheartened, and their courage fail them, and let them be no spirit left in them. Or let them be unstable as waters that is continually running ever upon the flux and motion. Let them never be settled, but always changing in their state and circumstances. It says, as a snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away. I'm going to jump to verse 9. Before your pots can fill the thorns, which is soon done, for as dry thorns make a great blaze, so they give a quick heat. The pots soon fill them, or the water in them soon receives heat from them. For from imprecations, the psalmist proceeds to prophesy and foretells the sudden destruction of wicked men, which will be before a pot could be heated with a blaze of thorns. It says, before the wicked become tender, they harden as a thorn. That is, they never become tender or have any tender consciousness, but are hardened in sin from their infancy. And I looked it up. It says Psalms 58:9 describes the sudden, unexpected, and swift judgment of God against the wicked. Using the metaphor of dry, fast-burning thorns, it illustrates that divine intervention will destroy evil plans and perpetrators instantly, before they can fully heat the pot or achieve their destructive goals. Job 20 tells us that while they're eating, the Lord shall cast them down. Let me see something. The book of Matthew, chapter 24. Is it 24, 21? Matthew 24 and 28. For whatsoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Right? So Yahawashi is coming out in glory. You know? Before Yahawashi arrives, there's going to be great death. Right? And he's coming from the east. Like it tells us in, was Isaiah 40, I believe? As birds flying. It might be Isaiah 41. You know? Yahawashi is coming to destroy our enemies, these nations. Right? That still want to keep us in a captivity. That still want to keep us from knowing who we are. The Lord is going to destroy them. It says, hey, the Lord is not coming to meet thee as a man. And then, right, so, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Right, because Yahawashi is coming out from, he's coming down from outer space with his angels, the thousands of heavens. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So, you know, Lord's willing, we be of that number, you know, and as it is commanded of us to watch and pray, that we enter not into temptation. Right? So we in some great, beautiful, beautiful times. We got to keep our eyes open for that MOTB. You know, as the Apostle, Elder Apostle Gabar, Apostle Tahar, as you see his page name, you know, being our leader, teaches us to do so. You know, to look out for that MOTB. So we can get the fuck out of here. So with that, shalom to the elect.